protect your mind from stress and find peace. You can't live in peace if your mind is a battlefield. And too many of us have allowed open access to our minds like it's a public park. Anyone can walk in, plant a seed, stir up chaos, and walk right back out. But today is the day you start guarding the gates, because your mind is a fortress. It is holy ground. And not everyone, not everything deserves access. You can't keep replaying their words in your head like it's a broken record and expect your soul to be whole. You can't keep reliving that trauma, replaying that argument, obsessing over their opinions, and still hope to walk in divine peace. Because stress is not just pressure. Stress is poison when it goes unchecked. It eats you from the inside out. It steals your sleep, wrecks your appetite, clouds your judgment, and slowly robs you of your purpose. But here's what they didn't teach you. Peace is not passive. Peace is a weapon. Peace will silence storms before they ever reach your shores. Peace will make you sleep in the boat while the waves rage around you. Peace will guard your heart when people try to tear it down. But you'll never find that peace until you stop handing over your mind to everything and everyone that comes knocking. Because some of you are stressed right now, and it's not even your stress. It's somebody else's drama, somebody else's expectation, somebody else's guilt, somebody else's crisis, and you're carrying it like it belongs to you. But you've got to learn how to say, that's not mine to carry. Stop volunteering for pain. Stop applying for stress. Stop signing up to solve battles you were never called to fight. You don't have to fix everybody. You don't have to answer every message. You don't have to prove your worth by overperforming, overworking, overgiving. Because when you try to control everything, what you're really doing is telling God you don't trust him with anything. Let it go. Let them go. Let the idea go. Let the approval go. Let the plan that didn't work go. Because peace doesn't come from getting everything right. Peace comes from releasing what you cannot control. Now hear me. If you don't have a place of stillness inside you, you will be a prisoner of your surroundings. If you can't sit alone with yourself without needing noise, without scrolling, without filling the silence, you'll never hear your next direction. So many people miss the voice of destiny, not because it wasn't speaking, but because they were too loud to hear it. Build an altar in your mind where chaos can't reach you. Build an altar in your mind where chaos can't reach you. Find your inner sanctuary and don't let anyone pollute it. That means setting boundaries like your sanity depends on it, because it does. That means giving yourself permission to rest, not because you're weak, but because you're wise. That means choosing quiet over clamor, reflection over reaction, peace over performance. And every day you've got to do what the world won't do for you. You've got to speak life to yourself. When the world says you're behind, speak, I'm right where I need to be. When the enemy whispers, you can't handle this, you shout back, I was built for this. When your mind says it's too much, answer, I've got grace for today. Because your thoughts follow your words, and your atmosphere responds to your declaration. You can't just think peace, you have to declare peace. And that declaration starts now. I don't know what's been weighing on you. I don't know what stress has been camped out in your mind, whispering lies in the middle of the night. But I came to tell you, You're not crazy. You're not weak. You're just overloaded. And it's time to take your mind back. It's time to say no without guilt. It's time to unplug and walk away. It's time to get back into alignment with what God says about you, not what they said, not what the world says, not what fear screams in the dark. You are strong, you are wise, you are favored, you are chosen. But even chosen people need rest. Even anointed people need recovery. Even warriors need to be still and know. So today, build your peace like your life depends on it, because it does. And from this day forward, let stress find no home in your mind. Let chaos knock, but never enter. Let fear speak, but never stay. Because you've built something stronger now. You've built peace. And peace, real peace, is worth protecting. You've built something stronger now. You've built peace. And peace, real peace, is worth protecting. Always guard the gates of your mind. Let that sentence echo within you like a call from heaven. Because if your life is chaotic, if your soul feels overwhelmed, if your peace keeps slipping through your fingers, no matter how much you pray, plan, or push forward, it's probably because you haven't been guarding your gates. You've been living open, exposed, vulnerable to every opinion, every negative comment, every fearful headline, every past wound replaying itself like a movie in your mind. You've let things walk into your mental space that were never meant to be there, and now you're paying rent on emotions that don't even belong to you. You've allowed stress to settle, bitterness to linger, and fear to whisper in corners that should have been reserved for truth. Everything starts in the mind. Everything. Before you gave up, it happened in your head. Before you broke down, the cracks formed in your thoughts. Before you lashed out, you entertained it in silence. The mind is not just where you think, it's where you believe. And what you believe has the power to shape your reality, shift your habits, rewrite your story, and determine your direction. So if the enemy wanted to destroy you, he wouldn't start with your money, your body, or your relationships. He'd start with your mind. He'd try to sow doubt. He'd aim to confuse you. He'd twist what you know to be true until you can't even trust your own voice anymore. That's why the gates matter. That's why you can't just wake up and go through life like you're mentally bulletproof. You're not. None of us are. We are porous beings. We absorb more than we realize. The things you hear, the conversations you have, the media you consume, the people you surround yourself with, these things don't just pass through you. They plant things in you. Seeds, some seeds of life and others of death. Some build you up, some tear you down. Some confirm the calling on your life, and others cast doubt over it until you start wondering if you ever heard God correctly in the first place. If you don't guard your gates, life will hand you burdens you were never meant to carry. You'll find yourself overthinking everything, spiraling over things that used to roll off your back. Your creativity will die. Your joy will be buried under the weight of worry. And peace will become something you chase instead of something you carry. You'll start reacting to everything and everyone, emotionally bleeding on people who didn't even cut you. You'll keep trying to fix the symptom, snapping at loved ones, procrastinating on dreams, escaping into distraction. But you'll never fix the root. Because the root is what you let in. The root is what you allowed to take residence in your mind. And the only way to pull it out is to shut the door. You've got to learn to filter your intake like your life depends on it. Because it does. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every conversation deserves your energy. Not every invitation should be accepted. Some places don't deserve your presence. And some people shouldn't have access to you, not because you hate them, but because you love your peace more, because you value your assignment more. Because you've finally realized that your mind is sacred, and you won't let anything desecrate it anymore. And let's be real, it's not just external gates you've got to guard, it's internal ones too. Because sometimes the biggest threat to your peace isn't what they said, it's what you said to yourself after they left. Sometimes the deepest wounds aren't from others. They're from the unspoken expectations, the perfectionism, the lies you believed when you were vulnerable. The voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, not fast enough, not smart enough, not love. That voice has to be checked. It has to be confronted. You have to talk back. Because if you don't talk to your mind will talk to you. And it doesn't always tell the truth. You've got to learn how to set mental boundaries. You have to become a gatekeeper of your own thoughts. That means you don't entertain every idea that walks into your head. You don't give permission to negativity to roam free. You don't sit and rehearse every insult, every loss, every missed opportunity. You get selective. You get intentional. You recognize that your thoughts build your life, and you refuse to let toxic thoughts build a house inside of you. You were not created to live under constant mental pressure. You were not designed to be at war with yourself. You were made to walk in freedom. But that freedom has to be fought for, starting with your mind. Every time a thought rises up that doesn't align with peace, with faith, with purpose, you have the authority to shut it down. You don't just passively absorb, you actively resist. You take back your power by taking control of your focus. And yes, it's a daily fight. Because stress doesn't knock once. It comes in waves. Anxiety doesn't call ahead. It crashes in, uninvited. But you get stronger every time you choose peace over panic. Every time you pause before reacting. Every time you decide that what you think about is more important than what people think of you. Every time you remind yourself, I have a choice. I don't have to entertain this. I don't have to replay that moment. I don't have to give fear a seat at my table. Protecting your mind doesn't mean pretending nothing's wrong. It means being wise about what you allow to live inside you. It means doing the work. Sometimes that's therapy. Sometimes that's journaling. Sometimes it's saying no when you feel pressured to say yes. Sometimes it's logging off, walking away, taking a nap, shutting the phone off, unfollowing, unsubscribing, detaching from anything that keeps you locked in cycles of chaos. Peace doesn't just show up, it has to be cultivated. And the first step is saying, not here, not in my mind, not anymore. So today, take back the gates, draw the line, and don't feel guilty for protecting the most powerful part of who you are, your mind. Because when your mind is clear, your path is clear. When your thoughts are healthy, your decisions are wise. When your mental space is free, your soul can breathe again. You are not helpless. You are not broken. You are not alone. You are powerful. You are the gatekeeper. Now protect your peace like your life depends on it, because it truly, deeply does. Stress doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. It shows up in silence, in the still moments when no one's watching. It's the tightness in your chest when your phone buzzes. It's the mental checklist that never ends, the invisible pressure to hold it all together. When you find it, you can always put it back. You can always turn to a deadline. If you don't have it done, you won't feel it. If you don't have it done, it won't feel it. If you don't have it done, it creeps in quietly, like a shadow at the edge of your mind, until one day you realize it's not a moment, it's a mindset. And the worst part is, most people don't even see it coming, because it doesn't always look like a breakdown. Sometimes it looks like overcommitment. Sometimes it looks like a smile hiding silent exhaustion. Sometimes it looks like being fine on the outside while drowning inside. Stress wears masks. It can disguise itself as responsibility, as productivity, as people-pleasing. You tell yourself you're doing what needs to be done. You say it's just a busy season. But deep down, your soul is waving a white flag. You're carrying weights no one knows about. You're smiling through tears that never fall. You've normalized chaos. You've adjusted to dysfunction. And now your spirit is suffocating under the weight of what must be done. But what if I told you that peace was never meant to be the prize you get after the war is over? What if peace was meant to be the weapon you carry into the battlefield? See, the world teaches you to chase peace like it's on the other side of achievement. They say work hard now so you can rest later. But what if that later never comes? What if you're working so hard for a version of peace that keeps moving further away the more you chase it? That's the deception of stress. It tricks you into thinking that peace is out there somewhere in the distance, when in reality, peace begins inside you. It's not passive. It's not a luxury. It's not a vacation you take twice a year. Peace is a decision. Peace is a posture. Peace is a powerful stance in the face of pressure that says, I don't have to carry this like it's mine. It says, I can be present without being pulled apart. It whispers, I can rest even in the middle of the storm. You see, stress can take your focus before it takes your peace. That's why it's dangerous. It doesn't steal everything all at once. It chips away slowly. You stop sleeping well. You stop enjoying the little things. You become irritated at small annoyances. You lose patience with people you love. And soon, you're reacting to life instead of responding with wisdom. You're stuck in survival mode. Your decisions come from fear. Your thoughts race. Your mind replays every worst-case scenario. And your heart, it just wants a break. But you've convinced yourself that breaks are weakness, that rest is a waste of time, that you've got to hustle to prove something to people who aren't even paying attention. Stress will have you running full sped toward a destination you don't even want. It'll make you say yes when you should have said no. That's a lie culture sold you. That's a lie your trauma whispered when you were young. That's a lie burnout tells you when you've given too much and haven't received enough. The truth is, you were never meant to be overwhelmed every day. You were never designed to constantly feel like you're running out of time, out of energy, out of peace. That's not noble. That's dangerous. Because stress doesn't just affect your mind. It hits your body. It shows up in your breathing, in your heartbeat, in your digestion, in your skin. It shortens your fuse and lengthens your nights. It confuses your clarity. It blurs your vision. And eventually, it breaks you. Not always in public, not always loud, but it breaks you in quiet ways, subtle ways. It makes you numb. It makes you forget who you are. It disconnects you from purpose. And if you're not careful, you'll live your whole life reactive instead of intentional. That's why peace isn't a soft word. It's a strong one. It takes strength to choose peace. It takes power to walk away from chaos that you used to call home. It takes courage to say, I will not sacrifice my mental health for anyone's expectations, not even my own. Peace requires boundaries. It requires honesty. It requires saying no without guilt, resting without apology, and choosing stillness when the world demands motion. There's a reason why peace is rare. Because most people are too afraid to slow down. They think if they slow down, everything will fall apart. But what they don't realize is everything is already falling apart because they never slowed down. The marriage is slipping. The friendships are cracking. The body is weakening. The joy is vanishing. And they're still running, still pretending, still pushing. But here's what I want you to hear. You don't have to live that way. You don't have to be everything to everyone. You don't have to keep saying yes just to feel needed. You don't have to keep showing up for people who never show up for you. You don't have to perform peace. You can actually possess it. You can breathe again. You can release the weight. You can put it all down. The pressure, the comparison, the timeline, the shame. You can stop explaining why you need rest. You don't need permission to take care of your soul. You don't need validation to disconnect. You don't need anyone to understand your boundaries before you enforce them. Because peace is yours to protect. And stress is not your identity. It's not your story. It's not your assignment. It may have walked in uninvited, but it doesn't have to stay. You can open the door and ask it to leave. You can choose joy. You can choose clarity. You can choose yourself again and again and again. Don't let stress lie to you. Don't let it define you. Don't let it rob you of the life you're meant to live. The power to shift is already inside you. All you have to do is stop, breathe, say it out loud if you need to. I will not live in stress. I choose peace. And nothing, no one, no situation, no demand, no deadline, nothing will steal it from me again. Peace isn't the end. It's the way. Walk in it. Letting go of control isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's not about giving up, it's about finally getting free. For too long, you've been trying to manage everything, fix everything, be everything, and do everything. And it's slowly been draining the life out of you. You carry burdens that were never yours. You try to solve problems that are beyond your hands. You obsess over outcomes you can't predict and people you can't change. And the more you try to grip it, the more it slips through your fingers. You keep thinking, if I could just hold on tighter, maybe it'll work out. But that's the lie control tells you. It promises safety, but delivers anxiety. Somewhere along the way, you learned that control meant security. That if you didn't keep your eyes on everything, something would fall apart. That if you didn't handle it, no one else would get in, that God would not wish you successful. That if you didn't keep your eyes on everything, something would fall apart. That if you didn't handle it, no one else would. That if you wouldn't that if you let go for even a second, everything you've worked for might collapse. But here's the truth. Control is an illusion. And the tighter you hold it, the more exhausted you become. Because you're not meant to control everything. You're meant to be faithful. You're meant to be present. You're meant to be grounded. But you're not meant to micromanage every outcome, every emotion, every response, every result. What if I told you that your peace is hiding on the other side of surrender? What if I told you that the thing you're most afraid to release is the very thing blocking your clarity? See, when you cling to control, you're saying you don't trust the process. You're saying you don't believe that things can work out without your hands being all over them. You're saying you don't believe the situation has meaning unless you orchestrate the outcome. But some things were never yours to control. Some situations are too big for your limited perspective. Some people will never change, no matter how much you pour into them. And no matter how deeply you care, your caring won't change what only surrender can fix. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're choosing peace over panic. It means you're finally understanding the difference between being responsible and being obsessed. It means you're giving yourself permission to rest, even while things are unresolved. It means you're stepping back so that what's meant for you can breathe, can grow, can arrive without being forced. Because sometimes the more you force it, the more you delay it. The more you press, the more you push it away. That relationship, that opportunity, that outcome you keep praying for. Some things only show up when you let go of needing them to look a certain way. You've got to stop thinking you're the glue holding everything together. That mindset is what's breaking you. That pressure is what's burning you out. You're not God. You're not infinite. You don't have to carry the whole load. You don't have to know how it will all unfold. You don't need all the answers to take the next step. Sometimes freedom is simply saying, I don't know what's next, but I trust that what's next is meant for me. Some of you are carrying pain that doesn't belong to you. You're holding on to blame, guilt, and shame for things you couldn't change. You've taken on weight that was never yours to bear. You think that by stressing over it, worrying about it, replaying it, somehow you'll fix it. But you won't. That's not healing. That's torment. That's trauma pretending to be loyalty. That's dysfunction wrapped in the illusion of care. Letting go isn't abandonment. Letting go is love. It's love for yourself, love for your peace, love for your purpose. Because the truth is, when you finally release control, you give space for the miraculous. You create room for divine timing. You step aside so that what is meant for you can walk in through the front door instead of sneaking through the back. And when you release what you cannot control, something inside you shifts. You begin to breathe again. You start noticing beauty again. You stop grinding your teeth at night. Stop overanalyzing every text. Stop feeling the weight of people's silence as a personal attack. Not everything is about you. Not every delay is a denial. Not every storm is a punishment. Sometimes the waiting is a gift. Sometimes the people who walked away had to, because their presence was blocking your growth. You wouldn't have let them go on your own, so life stepped in and removed them for you. And yes, it hurt. Yes, you cried. Yes, you felt like something was stolen from you. But now you see. Now you know. Now you're beginning to understand that your peace matters more than your pride. That your healing is worth more than the illusion of having it all under control. Letting go is how you make room for real joy. You can't dance with freedom if your hands are full of fear. You can't walk in alignment if you're gripping things that are meant to fall away. You can't hear clarity when your mind is crowded with worst-case scenarios. It's not that you're incapable, it's that you're overloaded. You've tried to be everything, hold everything, fix everything, explain everything. And now it's time to say enough. Enough is enough. Enough of apologizing for resting. Enough of begging for clarity in situations that only bring confusion. Enough of proving your worth by overgiving. Enough of shrinking your soul to make others comfortable. You deserve peace. You deserve softness. You deserve quiet joy. And that only comes when you finally say, I can't carry this anymore. And that's okay. Release the outcome. Release their opinion. Release the pressure to be perfect. Release the need to be seen, to be validated, to be understood. You are allowed to outgrow the chaos you once tolerated. You are allowed to evolve beyond the version of you that lived in survival mode. You are allowed to walk away from what is not yours. So breathe. Let the tension fall from your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Exhale. You don't have to hold it all together anymore. You don't have to figure it all out today. You don't have to be in control to be at peace. In fact, peace flows best when control is surrendered. The freedom you want doesn't come from doing more. It comes from releasing more. And once you stop gripping so tight, once you stop trying to force every detail, you'll realize that life moves with you. When you stop resisting it, your mind gets quieter, your heart grows softer, and you finally begin to feel what you were longing for all along, peace that passes understanding. And that peace will carry you further than control ever could. You can't survive chaos without stillness inside. You can't keep running through storms without somewhere to rest. At some point, you have to realize that peace isn't something you find in the world. It's something you build within yourself. The world will always have noise. People will always have opinions. Life will always have demands. If you wait for the outside to be quiet before you find calm on the inside, you'll spend your whole life waiting. Because peace doesn't show up when everything's perfect. Peace shows up when you decide that even in the middle of imperfection, you're going to protect your soul. You have to build inner altars of stillness, not physical places, not quiet corners in your house, something deeper, a still place in your spirit that nothing and no one can touch, a place where your faith lives, a place where your identity isn't shaken by what people say, a place where you remember who you are, even when everything around you feels uncertain. This kind of stillness doesn't come from doing nothing. It comes from doing the inner work. It comes from unplugging from the voices that overwhelm and plugging into truth that anchors you. Most people are moving so fast they don't even realize how loud their life has become. Their mind is racing from one thought to the next. Their soul is exhausted from the constant alerts, conversations, deadlines, and noise. There's no margin, no room to breathe, no space to feel, and eventually, it catches up. You start snapping at people for no reason. You can't think clearly. You lose passion for the things you used to love. You feel numb, not because you don't care, but because you've been moving at a pace that doesn't honor your humanity. You've been chasing results while your soul has been starving. Stillness is not laziness. It's not idleness. It's not avoidance. Stillness is where your strength comes from. Stillness is where you hear what actually matters. Stillness is what saves you from burnout. When you don't have stillness, you live on reaction. You respond to every email like it's urgent. You let every criticism rattle you. You feel pulled in every direction because you haven't built anything solid within to anchor you. But when you build stillness within, something shifts. You stop giving immediate access to your energy. You stop explaining yourself to people who must understand you. You stop feeling the need to prove your worth by what you do. Stillness teaches you to just be. Not because you've earned it, but because you were always enough, even in your quiet moments. When the world screams that you have to constantly produce, stillness whispers that you're already valuable. And here's the truth most people miss. Stillness isn't something you stumble into. You have to make space for it. You have to fight for it. You have to create rhythms that honor it. That means saying no to some things, even good things, so your soul can breathe. That means putting your phone down. That means pausing before reacting. That means sitting in silence, not because it's easy, but because it's healing. You can't fill your spirit if you're always plugged into everyone else's. It's in stillness that you realize what's really important. The things you were chasing, maybe they weren't worth the exhaustion. The people you were pleasing, maybe they never saw you clearly in the first place. The pressure you were putting on yourself, maybe it was coming from a place of insecurity, not purpose. Stillness has a way of revealing truth without shouting. It gently uncovers the layers you've built to survive, and it invites you to live from a deeper place. When you learn to live from that place, you become unshakable. Not because life stops shaking, but because you've planted yourself in something deeper than the noise. When your peace comes from within, the chaos outside can't steal it. When your confidence is rooted in who you are, not what you do, you stop chasing things that were never meant to define you. And when your decisions come from stillness, not pressure, you stop regretting where you end up. But don't expect everyone to understand your stillness. People who are addicted to chaos will be uncomfortable around your calm. People who thrive on urgency won't know how to handle your pace. But that's okay. You're not living for their rhythm. You're living for your alignment. And once you taste true stillness, you won't want to go back to living on edge. You'll start protecting your mornings. You'll start guarding your evening. You'll start carving out moments in the middle of your day just to breathe, to be, to reconnect. Stillness isn't something that happens by accident. It's a habit. It's a choice. And it's one that you have to keep choosing, especially when life gets loud, especially when people want answers, especially when people want answers, especially when people want resolve things immediately. But pause, breathe, let stillness have the final word, because what you build in stillness will sustain you when pressure comes. What you plant in silence will blossom in clarity. Stillness isn't a retreat from the world, it's preparation to face it. When you step out of your inner sanctuary, you step out with peace. You show up without anxiety controlling you. You listen without feeling the need to fix everything. You spend time with heaven and with hell. You listen without feeling the need to fix everything. You speak from depth instead of desperation. And you lead from overflow instead of emptiness. People think they need to do more to fix their lives. But sometimes what you need isn't action, it's awareness. Sometimes you don't need a bigger plan, you need a quieter mind. You need time to reconnect with the part of you that knows the way, that still voice within, that always knew what mattered, but got drowned out by the pressure to perform. That part of you isn't gone, it's just waiting for you to stop long enough to hear it again. You don't need to earn stillness. You don't need to perform for peace. You just need to remember. You just need to return. Return to your soul. Return to the sacred. Return to the truth that you are more than what this world demands from you. You are a soul, a being, a spirit that needs space to breathe and permission to rest. And when you begin to live from that space, everything changes. Your decisions are wiser. Your relationships are deeper. Your work is more meaningful because it's no longer driven by fear, but led by clarity. And clarity only comes in stillness. Peace only flourishes in stillness. And strength, real strength, is born in those quiet places where you hear your own heartbeat, where you speak to your own soul, where you remember that you were never meant to live drowning in noise. So build that stillness. Guard it. Honor it. Return to it again and again. Because in that stillness, you don't just find peace, you find yourself. Your mind listens to everything you say, even the things you whisper to yourself in doubt, in fear, in exhaustion. That's why you must learn to speak life to your thoughts daily. Not occasionally, not when you feel strong, every single day. Because your mind is a battlefield, and the war is constant. The moment you wake up, your thoughts start racing. Memories of the past, worries about the future, the pressure to perform, the fear of failing, the doubt that maybe you're not enough. And if you don't rise up with truth, if you don't speak life on purpose, those thoughts will run wild. They will rule your day, rob your peace, and weaken your courage. You can't let your thoughts go unchecked, hoping they'll magically align with purpose. They won't. Thoughts, like weeds, grow wild unless you cultivate them. And the way you cultivate them is with your words. What you say to yourself matters more than what anyone else says to you, because your voice is the one you hear the most. It's the one that echoes through every decision, every moment of doubt, every late night wrestling with identity, and purpose. So what's your word? Thoughts, like weeds, grow wild unless you cultivate them and purpose. So speak life, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Declare what you believe, not just what you see. Speak into your thoughts before your thoughts speak into your soul. Because your thoughts will follow your words, and your actions will follow your thoughts. That's why the first thing you say in the morning matters. That's why what you repeat becomes what you become. Stop cursing yourself with silent agreements rooted in pain. Stop saying, "I'm just not good enough" under your breath and expecting to rise in confidence. Stop whispering, "I can't do this" when things get hard and wondering why you feel defeated. Stop agreeing with fear. Stop nodding along with anxiety. Stop letting your inner critic narrate your life like it's the truth. That voice is not truth, it's trauma. It's survival mode. It's a story that served you once, but now it's time to rewrite it. You must train your mind by retraining your mouth. Every time you want to give up, speak life. Every time the lie tells you you're behind, speak truth. I am exactly where I need to be. When fear whispers, "What if you fail?" you answer, "But what if I fly?" When insecurity rises and says, "You're not as good as them," you speak, "I am fearfully and wonderfully made, and there is no one like me." You don't just hope for transformation, you speak it into existence. You prophesy to your future. You speak to your soul until your soul believes what your spirit already knows. And this isn't fake. This isn't pretending. This is power. This is how you shift atmospheres. This is how you change momentum. Your voice is an instrument. You speak, you are very much, very much. You are very much, very much. You are very much, very much, very much, very much. You are very much, very much, very much, very much. Use it with intention. Don't waste it on complaints. Don't waste it on comparison. Don't waste it echoing words that were spoken over you in seasons of brokenness. Use it to build. Use it to bless. Use it to break every curse that was placed on you by those who couldn't see your worth. You have to learn to speak before the spiral. Because once your thoughts start circling, it's harder to pull them back. But if you catch it early, if you say, "No, I'm not going there today," you take your power back. You interrupt the pattern. You anchor your heart in something deeper than your emotions. Because emotions are real, but they're not always true. You can feel afraid and still be safe. You can feel unqualified and still be called. You can feel unsure and still move forward. Feelings are indicators, not dictators. I just do what feels safer, following different path than the emotions that tell you your form dictates. They deserve attention, but not control. And when your feelings rise up, your voice needs to rise higher. Your words are not decoration, they are direction. They tell your mind where to go. And if your words are always negative, always critical, always hopeless, your mind will follow. It will reinforce that narrative. It will build thoughts that match your speech. But if your words are grounded in truth, in love, in strength, your mind will be renewed. Your thoughts will begin to shift. You'll catch yourself before the panic. You'll stop yourself before the breakdown because you've taught your soul what to believe even when everything else is screaming the opposite. You can't afford to let life speak louder than your purpose. You can't afford to let pain define your identity. You can't afford to let old wounds write the script for your new season. That's why you speak life. That's why you speak when you're tired. That's why you speak when you're tempted. That's why you speak when your circumstances try to intimidate you. You speak because silence is agreement, and you refuse to agree with defeat anymore. This is your time to speak differently, to declare what you've been too afraid to admit, that you are ready for more, that you are healing, that you are not the same person you used to be, that you're growing, slowly maybe, but surely, that you are not stuck, you are shifting, that you are not hopeless, you are becoming, that peace is possible, that joy is rising, that strength is returning, that you are still here, and that means your story isn't over. Start small if you must. Start with one word, one truth, one phrase that keeps you anchored. Write it down, speak it out. Say it over and over until it becomes a part of you. Until your mind stops resisting and starts agreeing. Until your spirit rises and says, yes, that is who I am. And when the day tries to steal your peace, when the pressure tries to break you, when people try to define you by your past, you go right back to that place, that sacred space within you where your voice reigns, and you speak life again. You speak until depression lets go. You speak until anxiety gets quiet. You speak until joy rises from the ashes. You speak until your words sound like prophecy. You speak until you can stand up in the middle of the storm and say, I will not be moved. Because peace isn't passive. Peace is fought for. Peace is guarded. Peace is spoken.